Hey, and welcome to the SLO City Together Podcast.
My name is Jordan.
No.
My name is Brent.
You can tell. You can tell that wasn't me.
It's
right?
May 20. Why? Is your voice deeper than mine?
It's not deeper, just better.
It is better. It's got a different tone.
I'm joking.
Totally an insecurity of mine.
Is it? Sorry.
I wish I had like Lawrence Aja's voice.
Oh, I do too. I don't like my voice at all.
Sometimes it doesn't matter what that dude says. You're like, yep, I agree.
Yeah, deep voices and accents do it, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you have a British or an Australian accent, I care what you say.
Only those?
10 times more.
That's pretty.
Oh, gosh.
That's pretty.
You're the worst.
All
No, right. I'm just thinking specifically of two people I listen to.
John Tyson.
And?
The guy from KXC.
No. KXC, what does that mean?
King's Crossing.
Oh, no. Never heard of him. N.T. Wright.
Oh.
He's just seems so delightful.
What do you like about N.T.
Just
Wright?
a kind old British man. He's just way more. He's way. So if you're unfamiliar with N.T. Wright, in my formal training at Cincinnati Bible College, you read a lot of his books, and they're very academic.
Did you read a lot of N.T. Wright's books? I may have read one when I was there, but I'm older than you.
You are older.
They may have loosened their grip on their restoration roots.
Yeah, no, it was. I would say I read 3 or 4, and then by association, I liked him. Yeah, it's just very heady and very deep. I'd never heard him speak. And then he's just this very warm.
Yeah, he is.
He's very warm.
Grandfatherly.
Very
British.
grandfatherly. And I did not expect that. I expect him to be way colder and more academic feeling. But when you hear him talk, and I didn't realize this. Do you know he writes books under N.T. Wright? That's his scholarly literature. And then his more warm, accessible literature is written under Tom Wright. So he publishes under both names, and if it's more accessible to the common man, it's Tom. Because if it's more scholarly, it's NT, which is funny.
Because you can trust a Tom anytime.
When I lead deep
that's good.
songs,
I didn't know that.
When I lead deep songs, it's J.E. Gallagher.
It's Joe.
J.E.
And then you're JoJo when you're.
And then Do
you remember when my kids were little? For a moment, they called you JoJo.
Yeah.
We wanted them to call you Uncle JoJo.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
So
that would have been cool.
That's good. Yeah, N.T. Wright. I read. Some of his really good stuff. Surprised by Hope.
Yeah,
was a great one. That was like probably one of his most popular, like culturally popular books. Surprised by Hope, about kind of redefining heaven. Yeah, everybody's interested in where you're gonna go after you die, and he kind of helped people reframe that perspective and say the kingdom, when Jesus steps onto the scene, says the kingdom of heaven is here and coming and arriving. And Surprised by Hope deals with heaven and kind of our role as followers of Jesus. It was great. It's kind of
He has a follow-up to that called Surprised by Scripture, where he does.
Did not know that.
Yep, it's a similar approach, but to a more shotgun spread of issues. So he talks about a lot of things that people like young Earth creationism. Is there a need for a literal Adam and a literal 7-day creation? That kind of stuff. What else is in there? I don't remember any other. He revisits heaven and hell, I think, a little bit, but in a more abbreviated fashion.
Do you remember that era, I'll say, where it was like everybody was writing books on hell and is hell real? Is hell not real?
Rob Bell. Yeah. That was that era.
That was crazy, man.
It was a good era.
I liked some of Rob Bell's stuff, though. Did you ever go to a Rob Bell concert?
No.
Oh, I did.
Really?
I took a youth group trip to
what does that consist of?
It was everything. It was his Everything is Spiritual tour, and which is funny, but it's kind of like a stand-up. But it was actually really good, dude. He had this massive.
I still like him.
Massive whiteboard that was empty. And he just slowly goes, he's like pictures and thoughts and you can watch it on YouTube. It's really good. So the whole point of the whole thing was that everything is spiritual, and it's just this like mind-blowing kind of like little to use Blair's term,
nuggets.
Little nuggets to kind of
I still like him.
Paint that
I don't
picture.
agree with everything he says fully, but
Yeah,
I
do
like
too.
his style of thinking. I enjoy approaching things that way. I actually listen to two podcasts I'll plug.
Okay.
The Ask NT Write Anything podcast.
That's good.
It's great.
He hasn't
I
updated
really
it
like.
recently,
Yeah, he
though.
has. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
My phone's broke.
He's had like 7 or 8 since quarantine has begun.
Okay. I'm going to test you on that.
Yeah, but go ahead. And then several months ago, I listened to Rainn Wilson, Dwight from The Office, has a podcast.
I've heard it. He's kind of, he's got some ideas.
He's got some ideas. He is a deeply spiritual man. I can't.
Not in the sense of, he does not necessarily, he's more like into Buddhism. No?
No, not quite. It's very interesting.
It's very mystical though. Like
Yes.
very like
Yes,
earthy, mystical.
But it has its roots, I believe, in Christian tradition. But then it has some
It
really
veers.
it just has some. I don't want to speak too much about it because I don't know.
Okay.
It's like, but
you
then
like
there was some
listening to
modern revelation, is what he believes. Anyhow, he has these podcasts where it's not specifically about his religious sect or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, sect. It's a good word to use.
No, it's not.
Belief system.
Belief
religious
system,
like leanings.
What's the word though?
I don't know.
Denomination.
Cult.
Is what I would call it. No, stop. Anyhow, but he's a kind man. He seems like a very kind.
Yeah. Philanthropic.
Yeah. But he interviews Rob Bell.
Okay.
And it was interesting.
Good.
Yeah. It's worth a listen.
That's, dude. You had nothing to talk about, and you are a wealth of knowledge in this. So I think.
Well, I wouldn't.
What draws you?
I won't put my stamp of like. I don't remember anything they talk about. I just remember being entertained and like, oh, that was deep and nice and fun.
You know, what day is today? May 21st, day after my son's birthday.
Yep.
And so we're here, and I like days that we have no plan because we kind of get off on little tangents, and we get to peek today. We're getting to peek into your brain, and like,
ask it.
I had a question, and then I'm blanking on it.
Do you want me to try to guess what your question was?
Yeah, that'd be great. Let's play that.
Why
game.
do I like listening to things that are not traditional or like?
Well, not in a critical, not in a critical sense,
me?
because I do too. I think it's helpful to like sift through. You know, you can get into a rut where you listen to the same thing over and over and over and over again, and you lack the ability to hear other people's perspectives.
Yeah,
and to actually have a intellectual or what's the word I'm looking for? Like a well thought out conversation with somebody with a different belief or perspective. So I actually respect that. So it's not in a critical sense, but why do you?
It's not in a critical sense.
Why do you?
I would say a few years ago I lost the fear of listening to other points of view. Like
why did you have that fear?
Probably because I'm a naturally fearful person. Probably because the Church of Christ, Christian Church, leans more toward. You hear like the Flintstone whistle.
Is there a whistle?
The time clock.
Okay, go ahead.
Like the tradition that. So when I came to faith was probably a more conservative leaning, and so I think there's a natural tendency to maybe build some walls. In my experience, I can't speak
you
to
felt
other,
the need
I
to
can't,
construct
correct.
walls.
I felt the need to be protected from thoughts that may be quote unquote dangerous. And I carried that, I think, even through college and well into adulthood. And at some point, I think the fear just kind of melted away to go, wait, I'm allowed to wonder, like, oh, what if that's true? And then it's been healthy for me because then I can walk down the road and go, no, that's stupid. Yeah. Or,
Do you think that it is? So this is do you think that it could be dangerous for some people? Like, do you have to be aware of yourself?
Sure, I think so.
Or like to hit? Did you need
hold on though?
Did you need to hit?
Do I believe that?
No. Listen. Did you need to hit a level of maturity or like self-awareness or kind of rootedness in your faith to where you could allow some questions to climb over the wall?
I would say yes, except I'm trying to decide if I believe what I'm going to say. Okay. That it can be equally dangerous to build the walls unnecessarily.
Yeah.
Because I think you can get trapped in the opposite way of thinking. So I don't know.
But there have to be. Do you think there have to be some like fundamental truths that you, especially in your faith?
I believe there is fundamental truth.
Okay. Go ahead.
I believe that. Yeah. I believe there's fundamental truth.
Yeah.
And I believe we should try to know it and understand it. I don't think we're probably close in a lot of areas. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's why I want to keep listening, is because man, shame on us if we
stop learning
and be just so sure that we figured God out perfectly, you know?
Well, that kind of leads us into what we're talking about Sunday.
Yeah.
I figured it out. I've trusted my own wisdom to know that I'm a great man.
I got him figured out.
I've got him cornered. Look how great I am. I'm doing all the things.
I know the formula.
And yet Jesus says, you totally missed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like in raising kids, okay, let's talk about this. Okay. No, go ahead.
Well, did what I say sound
all right
crazy?
I'll leave that to the listener.
Okay.
To decide. It did not sound crazy.
Okay.
I agree with it.
I fully believe in truth. Yeah.
Well, that wasn't my question. I know you really, but like, I think it's important for people to hear that and to say like, Jordan, like we aren't saying like, ask any and all questions and just float from here to there. There is no steady ground to stand on. Find your,
absolutely,
because what we hear now is find your truth. Now that
truth
takes on different definitions to different circumstances.
Right.
But when like a child hears that, in a formative, and I don't know what I'm saying right now, but in a formative season of their life, like find your truth, that means that there is nothing except what you know.
Yeah.
Or what you settle into. And I think like, so with raising kids, do you like encourage your kids to ask questions of scripture, ask questions about God, or are you helping lay the foundation of biblical principles or scriptural truth or that's a question.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's rhetorical because I don't know my answer.
Yeah.
I hope I'm encouraging questions in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to ever shut down.
Yeah.
Like I don't want my kids to say, I'm trying to think of something that they would ask and me go, don't ask.
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Why would you say
that?
You
know, it's like, no, I don't want to ever be that person. I want to be like, oh, that's interesting. Well, actually, we know that this is, or I want to be able to meet questions with grace and like I want to encourage thoughtfulness.
Yeah. Because the idea
I don't know if I'm doing that though. I'm trying to think now of like, can I point back to any situation where I have encouraged that my kids?
I feel like as your kids get older, you're forced into taking a side of either like, I will not allow you to ask any questions,
right?
Or we will lean into them. Because it's easy. It's easy when they're younger just to go, let's teach you these stories, these characters, this character, this integrity, this love of God, this Daniel Lyons Den, how God's a deliverer. Daniel, how God, I said Daniel twice. David. Turns out I'm the one who doesn't have a brain today. But as they get older and they run into circumstances at school or they see things on TV, like it causes questions. And I think you can either go, I'm too busy. There's Instagram to get to.
Yeah.
So or to lean into them. I think that's what's challenging me in this season, especially like just leaning into conversations with the next generation that will foster faith, but a more established faith, because you see so many times, and this has turned into a conversation about like
about what?
He's looking at me.
You okay?
Yeah. This has turned into a conversation about like what roots us and establishes us and where we go and the questions and all those things. But I don't know what I was talking about, dude. Honestly, I'm totally blanking on my I think I need a glass of water.
You okay?
I biked here from downtown and I'm still sweating. Wow. Maybe I'm having a mini stroke.
It could be. It could be the case.
All right. So what's on the docket for the rest of the week for you, for us, for we? Can I, how long have we been talking? Can I ask?
Yeah, it's been a while since you asked. 15 minutes.
Okay. So we're going to take a sharp right here because Brent can't handle this intellectual conversation right now. Okay. So I'm noticing on the news and on Facebook and on Instagram and on all these things, there is a sense of everybody's ready to reopen. Mm-hmm. We are getting more and more questions as quote unquote leaders of the church to kind of unveil our plans of reopening. Yep. What are you thinking and processing in this season?
Put me on the spot, man.
Or like, maybe we should talk through some of that, like some of those dynamics of what we want to be careful of.
I feel the weight of
responsibility.
I feel the weight of responsibility. Do you want me to be completely forthright and and myself and honest?
Yeah, and I'll be completely forthright, and then we'll fight each other.
Fist fight.
We'll be punching each other.
You're a mess. You're a mess today. You need to
clean
this up. So the thing that replays in my head over and over is the idea of the role we play, whether or not we see ourselves as leaders.
We are. I mean,
we are.
Yeah.
And by virtue of subconscious, this is too stupid. I need to make it real. Like my thought is, whenever we open, whenever we say, okay, you can come gather in this place, that carries some level of spiritual significance or the potential for guilt for people to go, I have to go to church. So like that puts the pressure on people who maybe would not be comfortable to go, well, if they're saying it's okay, I can't not go to church if church is open. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm weighing our role of leadership to go, when we say it's open, it's going to mean I need to go to church for some people.
Yeah, but we've never approached our gatherings like that.
We haven't, but that we can't control how other people view the role of church in their life as a follower of Jesus. I mean, we can through how we talk about it and teach about it,
how we set culture,
But that is my that is the thing that weighs heavy on me. Is once we make the decision to say, yes, we're opening. Number one, I believe we do need to feel confident that we are meeting the expectations of the people who are in roles of leadership. So not just to say like, we're clean enough, or we'll try to do social distancing if that's what they want, but people are people. We'll see what happens. Like, to me, that's not good enough.
I'll tell you my fear in some of this is that, so, we even sat down first week and said, okay, we're a Jesus-centered church. We're together people. We're growing more like him. We're sent to bring hope. How do we do this while being told we have to stay home? And now we are 60, what day is today? We are 63, 64 days into quarantine. And I feel like our church, just from this angle, this side of it, has done a good job of remaining centered on Jesus, together people, as best as we can. We've created more opportunities than, and this isn't patting ourselves on the back. This is the collective we, growing more like Jesus and to bring hope. Our church has responded with generosity, all of those things. And so my fear is we open doors to gathering and there's this rigidity, you know what I mean? Like my fear, because I don't like that. Like I revolt against like fear, you know what I mean? And so creating an environment of fear, I don't want to open if it's going to be an environment where people feel fearful or where we're like rigid on. Now there needs to be some, like you said, guidelines. Like, so there's like, quite honestly, there's this part of me that's like, the guidelines. Guidelines are needed. And especially with, but I don't want to be like, so I don't want to open too soon and be like this rigid place where everyone doesn't feel welcome.
Right.
And, like, or I don't know. So it's just this weird dynamic that I think culturally we're trying to grapple with. Like, as the church is the church regardless of if we're gathering in groups of 10, in groups of 5, in groups of, if we're gathering online, like, let's make wise decisions, not rushed and rebellious decisions.
Right.
Because honestly, dude, there's parts of me that go back and forth. You know this. There's parts of me that go back and forth every day of like, what's actually happening? Mm-hmm. Every night on the news, there'd be like, now the number of cases is this. And I'm like, that's stopped all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And now it's like, what's reopening and how do we reopen? And it's just so confusing, I think, for me. And for everybody who's probably watching going, what's okay, what's not okay? There's some people on the rebellious meter of 10 that's like, hey, I've been hanging out with people for 2 months.
Right.
And then some people who literally have not seen another human.
Right.
And so as the church, we've got to navigate both sides of that spectrum and kind of make room for both of them to feel welcome. And it's hard. It's hard. So I don't know. So I'm seeing things on Facebook, Instagram where churches are handing out masks, and that's probably
checking temperatures
at the door. Like,
so crazy.
That's you, man. That's your job. You're gonna just stand there and scan everybody's forehead.
Yeah.
And it is crazy. It is crazy. I mean, it's crazy. So I think over the next several weeks, the listener and you and I can rest assured that we will be praying. I think that's where we really just need to lean. We just really need to lean into prayer, because I think there's a worldly wisdom to this, and we could just rely on all the guidelines and all the rules and totally miss or we could just go the other side and just go like, we're going to have faith, and so we're going to meet and we're going to handle snakes and everything else while we're at it.
I fail to see the connection.
No,
between coronavirus.
Well, because it's like,
caution and snake
there's
handling.
That guy in Louisiana who's been meeting who's just like, Corona can't touch us,
Yeah, that's ugly to me.
Yeah,
that's ugly to me.
I think
do you imagine? I mean, this is maybe corny. No, it's not. I do it all the time. How would Jesus react?
Well, he'd just pray and heal it.
Yeah. But like I when I envision Jesus, and these people who are like, no one can tell us what to do, we can't forsake meeting, and it's like people who twist that, which I believe it's a form of spiritual abuse. That's just me. Because that does make people feel like, if I don't do this, I am disobeying the Bible because you can't forsake meeting. Whatever. Anyhow, like I think Jesus would be like, come on.
Yeah.
Like that's that's not what church is about. It's not just about this, like I think he would be this voice of reason to go, the sky's not falling. It's going to be okay. Like let's.
I don't think culturally their culture would respond as ours has right now, but it's hard to place Jesus in this. I mean, everything's we could talk about. There's a new show on Netflix called Trial by Media.
Haven't heard of it.
Just came out. Watched an episode last night. It's kind of sad, but we are in this culture of just indoctrinated with so many opinions, and now it's like, going back to the beginning, what is truth in all of this? Yeah. There are just so many questions that it's hard to sift through what's truth, and then to lead in the middle of that is tough. And so, full circle, I think Jesus would love people. Yep. Love people well, not be afraid, but not be, not rush into leading people off a cliff either. Right. You know what I mean? Right. He's not going to lead people off a cliff and be like, well, I told you to jump. Like stand in this field, watch the comet, Or
revolt against your government because you can.
Yeah.
Just because you feel like you have the authority to do it.
And I do think like this is a moment where, I was talking to Jenna, Jenna was on the women's Bible study last night, and somebody had shared, they have some friends, neighbors who necessarily don't believe, have very skeptical views of the church, and they were talking about this church in town who has supported small business. That's what we need to focus on. Probably more of our energy in this season needs to be focused on how can we continue to love people around us well, serve people, serve the city, honor God, continue to keep Jesus the focus and not like our liturgy or our, what is the term? Seriously, there's something wrong with my brain today. Yeah. I might be stroking out. You might have to take it. Right. But focus in on that. So
that's good.
Okay. All right, well, we got a busy day. Jordan, I don't know if you guys know this, but Jordan is a do it all kind of guy. He does all the technical side. He edits down audio. He shoots the kids' video while I sit in the corner. But he's got a lot on his plate, and I've got a lot of watching to do here. So,
whatever.
So, man, I would just encourage you if you're listening, be praying, and be asking hard questions and share those. Share hard questions with one another, with us. We would love to navigate this not in a vacuum, but with because I know I bring my own lens and my own experience into this. You do as well.
Absolutely.
Everybody does. The more lenses we get, the more kind of clear I think we can see of how to step. Does that make sense? Even though that's kind of a backwards analogy.
Yeah, because that's not how lenses work.
Layered lenses, but I don't know. But we can just, oh gosh, dude. I just need to shut up. I just need to get off.
That's funny. That's an analogy. It's totally backwards.
Totally backwards analogy.
But your point is true.
But it works.
We need everybody's collective wisdom and input to make a wisest possible decision.
Yeah.
Is that all? That's all we got.
Just turn me off.
Well, I think that's all the time. I'm going to run Brent to French Hospital real quick and get a little CAT scan, and then we'll be back with you soon. Good?
What?
Yep. All right. Love y'all.
Love you too. See ya.